Henry,
Richard,
a pleasure to be back at Harrow Hope.
thanks for
A few
coming.
months since I come out here, and certainly I don't think I was here at this time of year last year. Vineyards looking very promising, I would say.
Yeah, we've been blessed this year compared to last year, which was, it was a trying year. This year has been, it's been fantastic, and it's not over till it's over, but we're days away. So yeah, it's a job done.
Okay, well I'm relieved to hear it because you've relatively recently converted to organic, haven't you?
Yes, so we will be certified, barring any disasters, June next year. So it's been a journey. It's been something that we've been working towards since day one, to be honest. But whether we weren't brave enough or didn't have the confidence in our methods, these things take time. You have to learn your site. You have to learn your good spots, your bad spots, and we did a trial organic system in 2020. That gave us a lot of confidence. We made some amazing wines in 2020. Probably more to do with the year itself was a great year, and that sort of gave us confidence that this is the direction that we want to go. And 2021
didn't put you off too much.
No, 2021 was, if that had been our first year, I'd have been scratching my head maybe a bit more. But 2021 was for me the rubber stamp. If we can create the wines that we did that year in a year like that, then it gives us more confidence that we can deal with whatever nature wants to throw at us.
When you say you'll be certified next year, is that Soil Association?
Soil Association, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, organics is, the way I look at it, it's more of a list of things you can't use. There's no manual. It's in a way biodynamics is a bit more. Here's the manual. This is the way. So organics is you're sort of on your own. Sort of you're not allowed to use any synthetic pesticides. And you've got to figure out the rest. But what we've done, organics on its own, I think it's not enough. It's the regenerative agricultural bit that we've added and layered into the organics that I think that combination is what seems to be working.
But really interesting because what we're standing on now, this cover crop. I remember when you used to plough between the vines.
Yeah.
And obviously regenerative agriculture is all about not ploughing between
exactly.
the vines,
No till.
To leave the cover and so on, no till.
Exactly.
So
I mean we've gone round the houses on what is the best method to cultivate. I spent a lot of time in France. They still cultivate quite a bit. So in my head that was, well, if the French are doing it, maybe this should be something we're looking at. But what we found is, within a year, 2 years, the soil structure really breaks down quite quickly, and it was quite alarming, really. So we thought, well, this is maybe not the way we should be going. So we started to build in some cover crops, but we were still sort of working the underneath of the vine, getting rid of the weeds. So there was still a certain amount of cultivation. But this year we have literally said, look, no till. That's the red line. And because you have to try something new every year, and you've got to learn. If you don't learn something in a year, it's not been a good year. Good or bad, you have to keep learning. And this year we've been blessed with a very hot, dry summer, so it's been able to control the natural vegetation. We have been seeding cover crops in the rows, but we've literally just seeded the under row cover crop. So we're doing a trial with white clover to see if we can establish a species under vine that can control sort of the weeds and sort of low growing. And because it's a legume, it will help bring nutrition and nitrogen into the soil. So, it's early days, but
good.
Hopefully it'll work.
Good, glad to hear it. And with organics, I'm a bit of an idealist. Do you expect the vines to build up a certain resilience themselves, or is that wishful thinking?
I think to a certain extent. I mean, to me, it's fine balance. I think that's what we're ultimately searching for, the perfect balance as far as vigor, yield. The big factor that we've been I think any English vineyard would work against in those early years when the vines are quite young is vigor, too much vigor. We've got a wet climate, it's not too hot, and the vines can be quite precocious when they're young and they just want to grow and you're trying to control that vigor. And the issue in organics is if the things keep growing, new tissue equals new things for disease to attack. So we want them to essentially to stop growing and, you know, get that balance, and then start putting their efforts into the fruit. And this year, you know, this is the best year I've seen, where, you know, you can see through the canopy. Many, you know, some years, you know, it's just a wall of leaves. You know, this year, you know, if you can see through the canopy, that's a good sign. That's aeration, that's light, dappled light. All these things help naturally control disease. So I think there is an element of vine health that helps prevent disease, but you've got to help them out, you know.
There's a logic to that, and well, I certainly wish you well. And with organics, how does that influence what you do in the cellar as well? Does it make a difference to the way you ferment and that sort
Yeah,
of
I mean, the old adage about, you know, 80% of great wine is made in vineyards, you know, that still stands true. You know, we are, where I sit, we're wine growers, not wine makers, you know, so if we can nail it in this area, the rest of it is, you know, is very, very, very simple. So that's why all of our efforts are concentrated in the vineyard, and ultimately we're trying to build up the biome inside, you know, above ground and below ground. You know, conventional is sort of, you're just trying to kill, you know, you're trying to kill a pathogen, but you're going to take out a lot of the good stuff as well. And, you know, this is why organics, biodynamics, I think you're helping to sort of increase the biome, bacteria, fungus, you know, which I think really helps to balance out, you know, less room for disease to get in. Yes, you might get a bit of disease, but, you know, it's not going to run away with you, if you know what I mean. So you're sort of, you know, it's balanced. It's a bit, I say, it's a bit like sort of COVID. If you're completely sterile, you know, you're giving a chance for a rogue virus bacteria to get in and just take over. Whereas if you have a much more diverse ecosystem, there's much less chance for tough disease to take hold. And that's the thing we've got in our head all the time. And then that transfers to the winery. That, you know, we've got this life in the soil, you know, bacteria, fungus living on the grapes, and we're transporting that now because it's harvest into the winery, and hoping that you know, helps us, you know, minimise additions, you know, interventions in the winery.
So on a basic, so wild yeast, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so wild yeast is something that we've been working with probably since, say, 2018, 2019, slowly but surely, because, you know, there is an element of risk. You're sort of handing over your precious juice, your grapes, to nature, so you have to have confidence that you know, what you've got is gonna have a benefit.
You need pretty good fruit in the first place. You have more confidence.
Yeah, and I think you need good fruit to be able to do it. Healthy fruit as well. That's a key part. You know, if you've got disease, you know, you are bringing in potentially, you know, harmful bacteria that can make things go wrong. But the more you do something, the more confidence you get. And I think, you know, that's what we've built up, the confidence that we're, you know, the grapes that we're bringing in enables us to do as we need and preserve that inherent quality that the fruit gives you, but also preserve that inherent character that links us to the site, that character that we're cultivating that is, you know, unique to Harrow Hope. Whatever people may, you know, think it is, but that's our goal.
Well, I know I've seen research recently that suggests that the mycorrhizal activity under the soil
is a big factor.
It's probably a bigger factor in terroir than many of the
than minerals themselves, you know. But, you know, they have to live in a substrate, and that substrate, you know, the structure of that substrate, you know, the soil structure, the carbon, all these things, that will also determine what actually lives in the soil. So it's all linked together. So you have to look at every single aspect. And yeah, a lot of it we don't understand, but I like the sort of the mystery of you know, I don't want to know everything. You know, experience for me is you know, that's the learning.
It's one of the. It's a good thing and a bad thing about viticulture, isn't it? That a vine is an annual, at least in Northern Europe it is.
Yeah.
So you only get one chance a year. You've got, as you said earlier, you've got to make the most of that opportunity.
Yeah, and when you
learn what you can.
And when you're our size, you know, we're only 6.5 hectares. You know, so we can't rely on another site down the road that, you know, maybe we don't get it right this year. Oh, we've got some other vineyards, we've got some other sites that will, you know, we have to nail it every year. But the other side of the coin is, you know, the vineyards there we're right here, so we walk the vineyards, multiple times a day. We can react very, very quickly to weather patterns, etc., etc. So being small helps you to respond quicker. So there is a positive there.
Good stuff. Well, I know from past experience that the fruits of your labours are worthwhile. Can we do a bit of tasting as well?
Of course.
Can I try one?
Go for it. Go for it.
Brilliant. That's delicious. I know if I was a true vineyard, I'd be chewing the pips as well.
The pips are important. The pips are an indicator, and this year I was amazed how early
They're
the pips
surprisingly
ran.
crunchy.
Exactly. So confidence
Okay.
of phenolic ripe. I think it's going to be a very phenolically ripe year, which is fantastic because that equals flavour.
In great shape.
Fantastic.
As you've been picking, have you got some juice to taste?
Yeah, we've got a winery full of fresh juice. So if you want to try some, let's go.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Might try another one on my way out. Don't worry, I'll leave you a bit.